Welcome back once again to our deep dive. You know, I've been kind of keeping an eye on Intel's stock.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, ever since, its peak before COVID.
Mhm.
And it's been on this like consistent downward trend.
Yeah.
Lately, it's been, hovering around 19 to 20 bucks. And honestly, I'm starting to think, I don't know, is this like the new normal for them?
Right.
I'm a little unsure if it's a good time to buy in.
Yeah, it's definitely been a roller coaster,
Yeah.
for Intel investors these past few years. I think a deep dive into the company's profile, financials, forecasts might give you a little more insight
Okay.
into whether this downward trend will continue or if a rebound is on the horizon.
Okay, let's dive in. I think it'd be helpful to start with a refresher on Intel.
Sure.
What exactly do they do and where do they fit in the tech world?
So Intel is a semiconductor giant.
Okay.
They're in the business of designing, developing, manufacturing, and selling computing products and services globally. Yeah, their bread and butter are microprocessors.
Okay.
Those tiny chips that power our computers.
Right, right.
But they also offer chipsets, GPUs, that's for graphics processing,
Mm-hmm.
and even solutions for AI and self-driving cars.
So they're not just about laptops and desktops anymore. They're branching out.
Exactly. And that's important to consider when we look at their financials later. They're a legacy company,
Okay.
founded in 1968, headquartered in Santa Clara, California, but they're clearly trying to stay ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
With over 108,900 employees globally, they've got the manpower to make big moves.
All right, let's get into the nitty-gritty. Their revenue has been declining, right?
Yes.
I remember reading something about that.
Their revenue has been on a downward trend,
Yep.
which is a major factor contributing to the stock's performance. Back in 2020, they were bringing in $77.87 billion.
Right.
Fast forward to 2023, and that number dropped to $54.23 billion. Projections for 2027 estimate revenue at about $62.31 billion.
Yeah.
So, there might be some recovery, but it's not exactly a dramatic comeback.
That's quite a significant drop. What's driving this decline? Is it increased competition or are there other factors at play?
It's likely a combination of factors. One major challenge is the intensified competition.
Hmm.
Companies like AMD have been gaining market share, putting pressure on Intel's dominance.
Right.
The tech landscape is also changing rapidly,
Yeah, right.
with demand for different types of computing products constantly evolving.
Yeah.
The question is Intel adapting quickly enough to keep pace?
Adaptability is key in the tech world for sure. Okay, so revenue's down, but what about their earnings per share? That's usually a good indicator of a company's profitability, right?
Absolutely. And this is where it gets interesting. Intel's EPS has seen a wild swing in recent years.
Okay.
From a healthy $4.94 EPS in 2020, projections show a potential loss of $4.38 per share in 2024. That's a massive shift from profit to loss.
A projected loss of that magnitude definitely raises some red flags. What's causing that swing? Is it solely due to the revenue decline, or are there other issues impacting their bottom line?
It's not just the declining revenue. Intel is also investing heavily in a turnaround plan.
Okay.
That includes, building new manufacturing facilities
Right.
and trying to regain technological leadership. These initiatives are expensive and cutting into their profitability in the short term.
I see.
This aggressive spending is likely a big part of that projected loss for 2024.
So it's a bit of a gamble.
Yeah.
Short-term pain for potential long-term gain.
Right.
But it does make you wonder, are those investments going to pay off?
Mm-hmm.
Will they be enough to get Intel back on top?
That's the million-dollar question. It's worth noting that their operating margin has taken a steeper dive than revenue.
Okay.
It went from over 30% in 2020 to a projected negative 7% in 2024. This suggests rising costs are impacting profitability more than the shrinking revenue alone.
That's a great point. I hadn't considered that. So it's not just about selling more, it's about controlling those costs too.
Yeah,
It seems like their ambitious plans are putting a strain on their finances.
exactly. They're spending more on research and development and those new fabrication plants, and those costs are adding up.
Let's shift gears for a moment and talk about debt and dividends.
Sure.
How is Intel managing its debt?
Yeah.
And what's the story with their dividend payouts?
Yeah,
These are important factors to consider, when evaluating a company's financial stability,
right.
especially for someone like me who's looking at this as a potential investment.
Their debt-equity ratio has remained relatively stable over the years,
Okay.
which is a positive sign. It suggests they're not overly reliant on borrowed money to fund their operations. However, their dividend payouts have seen some interesting changes.
Like what?
The dividend growth took a nosedive in 2022, going from a 5% increase to almost a 50% decrease.
Wow, a 50% decrease. That's a big red.
It is. It could indicate that Intel is prioritizing reinvesting in the company um, over rewarding shareholders with dividends, at least for now.
Yeah.
This approach makes sense given their current challenges, but it's something you'll want to keep in mind.
So we've got declining revenue, shrinking margins, a projected loss in the near future, and a dividend cut. Not exactly painting the rosiest picture, is it?
Right.
But let's not forget, Intel is a big player in the tech world.
hmm
What are the analysts saying about their future prospects?
Analyst opinions are actually pretty mixed,
Okay.
reflecting the uncertainty surrounding Intel's future.
All right.
Current price targets range from a low of $20 to a high of $40, with an average target of $25.69. However, the general consensus is a hold rating, meaning most analysts believe the stock will perform in line with the overall market.
That's a pretty wide range of price targets. What are the analysts basing their projections on? Are they optimistic about Intel's turnaround efforts, or are they more cautious?
The wide range suggests there's no clear consensus. Okay.
Some analysts are more bullish, believing Intel's investments in new technology and manufacturing will pay off and lead to a rebound in both revenue and profitability. Others are more skeptical, pointing to the fierce competition and the challenges of regaining lost market share.
So there's potential for growth, but also a significant amount of risk. What about the revenue and EPS forecasts for the coming years? Do they shed any light on Intel's potential trajectory?
The forecast suggests Intel is likely to face continued headwinds in the near term. While there's potential for revenue growth, the EPS is projected to remain low for a while, highlighting the continued pressure on their profitability. But remember, forecasts are just educated guesses based on, current information. Things can change quickly in the tech world.
You're absolutely right. The tech landscape is constantly evolving, and a single breakthrough or strategic move could shift the game entirely.
Precisely. It's crucial to look beyond the numbers and consider the broader context.
What are Intel's strengths and weaknesses? What are their competitors doing? How are they responding to the changing demands of the market?
Those are all great questions. It's like trying to solve a puzzle,
Yeah,
putting all the pieces together to get a clearer picture of the future.
exactly. And that's what we're doing here, trying to piece together the available information um, to help you make an informed decision about whether Intel's the right investment for you.
So let's put it all together. We've talked about the company profile, their declining revenue, the shrinking profit margins, the projected loss, the dividend cut, and the mixed opinions from analysts. What does this all mean for someone like me who's been watching Intel and considering buying some stock? Is this a potential bargain opportunity or a sign to, stay away? It's a tough call. On one hand, you got a company with a long history of innovation,
Right.
a strong brand, and ambitious plans to reclaim their leading position.
hmm
If those plans succeed, the stock could see a significant rebound.
That's the optimistic view, the potential for, a classic comeback story. But
Yeah.
on the other hand, they are facing some serious headwinds.
Yeah.
The competition is fierce, the market's evolving rapidly, and their financial health is showing signs of strain. Turning things around will take time, and there's no guarantee of success.
So a lot of uncertainty. It sounds like a high-risk, high-reward type of situation.
Exactly. It boils down to your individual risk tolerance and your assessment of Intel's long-term prospects.
Yeah.
Are you comfortable with the possibility of short-term losses in the hope of a future payoff? Or do you prefer a more stable, predictable investment?
Those are some good questions for me to consider. It reminds me of, I don't know, when I was debating whether to invest in this one company that was once a market leader, but then started facing new challenges. It felt like a similar story to Intel's situation now.
It's easy to look at past performance and assume it'll continue. But as you know, the tech world is incredibly dynamic. The real question is whether Intel can adapt and innovate to stay ahead of the curve.
That makes sense. It's not just about their past achievements. It's about their ability to evolve and thrive in the current landscape.
Precisely. And that's why it's crucial to delve deeper into their turnaround strategy.
Right.
Are they investing in the right technologies? Are they addressing the competitive threats effectively? Are they making the right moves to adapt to changing market demands?
Sounds like I've got some more research to do.
Right.
I need to really understand their strategy and evaluate whether I believe in their ability to execute it.
I encourage you to explore multiple perspectives and consider different scenarios.
Okay.
Read analyst reports, industry publications, and compare Intel's approach with its competitors. The more informed you are, the better equipped you'll be to make a sound investment decision.
Well, this deep dive has definitely given me a lot to think about. It's been really helpful to break down Intel's situation, examine their financials, and consider the different perspectives on their future.
Remember, this is just a starting point. The decision ultimately rests with you. Weigh the risks and potential rewards, consider your investment goals, and trust your gut instinct.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into Intel. Really appreciate you guys listening all the way to the end, and we'll catch you in the next one.